They played until sunlight was exhausted on Friday, and by the time it was, you have to imagine that players' brains and bodies might have been as well. The fans that came expecting maybe to see a ton of birdies on one of the world's best golf courses did not. Alongside Andy North, the two-time U.S. Open champ, I'm Scott Van Pelt. This short, easy golf course isn't.
Well, it was definitely not with the wind swirling around on Friday and the green starting to firm up a little bit and some diabolical hole locations.
If this is where we are at the halfway point almost, then good luck for Sunday. Still, Billy Horschel, this is a young, really super confident player who won in New Orleans, leads the PGA Tour in birdies when he gets hot. Andy, what can he do?
He is unbelievable when he gets hot. He went through a stretch early in the season where he top 10'd it every week and then ended with that win. He's a wonderful putter. And as you said, he's a very, very good ball striker. And anybody that goes out in the U.S. Open hits 18 greens and gives himself that many chances, you've got to go low.
He's not unsure of himself. You saw a birdie at 10. You saw a birdie at 18. It's his second career start in a major. He's played in the U.S. Open before, but in a very different time in his career, this Florida Gator. We mentioned the win in New Orleans. He's got the 6 top 10s. And again, he can make a ton of birdies. Tiger played with him earlier this year in San Diego, told me he's super aggressive. After his round, he was pretty satisfied.
I think it just comes down to I was patient. You know, in U.S. Opens, you got to put the ball in the fairways and on the greens, and it's easier said than done. But you know, I'm always been a pretty good ball striker, and you know, I just feel like U.S. Opens are, you know, a place that suits my game very well. It's not the first time I've hit all 18 greens. It's something I've done numerous times throughout my life, my career, and it's nice to do in the U.S. Open, and obviously it helps that the greens are very soft.
The yin and yang of Phil Mickelson for the second straight day. His round begins with a 3-putt bogey. This one came at the first. And Andy, this happens to him more often than any great player.
I think it's as much poor alignment, and then you add normally his speed. He hits those in so hard. If it doesn't hit the middle of the hole, he's got no chance.
It looked like his round might fall apart. His tee shot at 13, I know you thought was iffy.
Yeah, I think at 13, you've got to keep the ball below the hole in the middle of the green. Then from a buried lie, there's absolutely no way to make a par.
So back-to-back bogeys on 12 and 13. He's ready to let it all slip away, but the short game here on 17 really shows itself.
Well, he is so good out of the grass around these greens. He has such great imagination and then ties it up with great touch to save par there. And then here at 18, the key, yes, he makes a nice long putt, but he's kept his second shot in the perfect spot where he's putting straight up the hill. You have to do that at U.S. Opens.
A huge roar of approval from these fans who are pulling from Phil, who wanted that birdie.
It felt great. I wasn't expecting birdie there. I'm just trying to make a par. It's a very difficult hole, and I got shut out today, Tom. I actually played really well, even though I shot 2 over. I had you know, it was the birdie opportunities that I didn't capitalize on. Had I made one on 2 or that birdie on 8 or 9 or 11, I would have changed kind of the momentum of the round. But I played well today, even though the score isn't what I felt it should be.
It's remarkable to consider that we are not even finished our second round, and there are only 2 men under par, and the number next to their name is 1. You see there is an English contingent, which includes Rose, Donald, and Poulter. Steve Stricker at 46 hanging in at even. A number of amateurs are playing particularly well. You see Tiger Woods at 3 over. He's not played particularly well, neither is Rory McIlroy, and yet they are only 4 back. Andy, you've walked every shot with Tiger thus far. Here he is on 13. He did what Mickelson could not.
You know, he plays, this is early in the morning. It's much cooler and much softer. He threw it in there knowing the slope was going to bring it back next to the hole. He left himself a really difficult a birdie putt, which he made. Now here at the second hole, this is vintage Tiger. Left middle hole location. Plays a little low baby hook in there, spinning it left down into that hole location. Perfectly thought out and perfectly executed.
You said this was his best shot that you saw in 2 days. Why?
Really a horrible why, and he's got 159 yards, and he's coming in over the creek. If the ball doesn't come out of there well, it's a double bogey. Hits a beautiful shot and keeps it below the hole where he ends up making that for birdie.
So he birdies both the par 5s. What happens here?
Horrible, horrible lie. He's trying to just dig it and just sort of chunk it onto the fringe and let it just dribble down to the hole. He's made bogey.
Back to 3 over par, and Woods again. This was the posture on Friday. We sort of tucked that left arm behind his back.
We didn't see that as much in the second round as he did in the first round.
Well, people asked what's wrong. Didn't find out much.
Well, it's really hard with this wind, and especially these pin locations. These pin locations are really tough. They put them on a lot of. We knew they were going to be in the areas, but we didn't think that they were going to be as severe as they are. And you know, a lot of guys are missing putts and blowing them by the holes and of that nature, because obviously they made it a little bit more difficult trying to, you know, protect par.
And I allude to, didn't learn much. He's asked about the elbow. What's wrong? The elbow. When'd you hurt it? The players. What's wrong? Not telling you anything. So there's something that's bothering him in his arm. What should be bothering about his game? What hasn't been clean that you've noticed through 2 rounds?
Well, I think any time at a U.S. Open, you're going to miss some fairways, you're going to miss some greens. Let's give him that. But I thought around the greens, chipping, pitching, the kind of shots that normally he gets up and in, he's hit some very, very poor shots and hasn't got it up and in anywhere near as many times. And as he just said in the interview, his speed on the greens hasn't been that great. I think he made some better strokes Friday than he did on Thursday, but still, he's got to take advantage when he hits good shots and be able to save it when he misses some greens.